Evening all. Welcome to a cold Carrow Road, late November, but Norwich City are top of the table. Unbeaten in 10, but it's not been smooth sailing today. I don't think any of us expected it to be, did we? A 1-1 draw with Coventry this afternoon. Cov fought hard for this one. They haven't had a brilliant start to the season since they were promoted from League One, and they scrapped their way to a point, and they grabbed an equaliser in the 89th minute. So Norwich getting a little bit of a taste of their own, because they have enjoyed some good results already early doors this season, haven't they? With late goals, they beat Branchage beat Wickham and Birmingham with the late goals, the late Jordan Hugill penalty. So you can stomach this one, I think, overall. I think at the start of the day, given that Norwich came into this knowing that they were without so many players, they knew that they were going to be without at least 11. That turned out to be 12 players injured, because Lucas Rupp didn't make this one either. And that little hamstring strain that he's got proved too much for him. So that added to Emi Buendia made it 13 players unavailable for this one, which is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, what's a manager supposed to do? What's a head coach supposed to do? Where the vast majority of teams in this division couldn't handle that. You're probably talking Bournemouth, Watford and Norwich as the three who've come down, plus maybe a few others who can handle that kind of absence from their squad. Frankly, if Coventry or Wickham or Rotherham have got 13 players out, they're playing the youth team, aren't they? So to get out of here with a 1-1 draw, to still be top of the league, to be unbeaten in 10 games, despite all that, is nothing to be sniffed at in the slightest. It's just so agonisingly close to them getting a win, which would have been immensely satisfying in the situation. I mean, just to look at the stats very quickly, possession, Norwich had 63%. They had 9 shots at goal, Coventry had 13, and 6 shots on target to Coventry's 4. So, this is a competitive game. It wasn't a great spectacle, really. Coventry are trying to stay in this division. Frankly, that's their ambition for this season, and Norwich just are kind of running on empty, aren't they? They're down to the bare bones. That is going to knock confidence a little bit, isn't it, and belief. But they still tried to play, as those stats show, they still tried to play their football. The goal did come, though, after switching to a more defensive shape 5 minutes from time. Christoph Zimmermann came on for Josh Martin in the 88th minute, and they switched to a 5-4-1 sort of shape, because by that point they were just out of puff. They were hanging on in there, doing the best that they could, and Coventry had used their 5 subs as well and had given themselves energy. Mark Robbins had switched to a 4-4-2, had gone more attacking, and to be fair, it worked for them. The both involved in the goal as well, both attacking substitutes, that is. So in the end, it was Biamu earning, I should say, a point in the 89th minute for Coventry. But unfortunately, that got even worse, because Max Aarons has injured himself during the build-up to that goal. He dived in to try and stop Giles from crossing from the left, clattered into him. He actually got booked for the challenge, probably rightfully as well, because it was just a desperate attempt to try and stop the ball from coming in. And just hearing from Daniel Farker after the game they're hoping that it's more of a bang to the shin, a heavily bruised shin, rather than injury, which he has had before. If you remember, he hurt an ankle during the England under-21 when he was with the England under-21s last season. I'm not sure if it's the same ankle or not, but they are hoping that it's not an ankle injury, that it's going to be one of those where the swelling go down, see how he is. But that was a pretty big sucker punch, concede a goal, get booked for the challenge and go off injured. And to make it even worse, it looks like Aaron's being down prone on the floor was what played Biamu onside for the goal as well. In real time, I thought Ben Gibson's attempted clearance had deflected Carney to him, but perhaps they did get a deflection off the other Coventry substitute, Walker, to go to him. And in real time, he thought, well, he must be offside because he's the last player closest to the goal. But Max was lying out wide, hurt, and played him onside. So that's a pretty cruel way to end the game when a team down to the bare bones had done so well to cling on. It was actually 3 changes. expected. Michael McGovern coming in for Tim Krul in goal. That was only his second start in 150 league games for Norwich, so he doesn't get much action in the league, does he? And he, there was definitely signs of rust there. He has played a couple of times for Northern Ireland this season, so it's not totally out of the blue for him, but he made a couple of decent saves as well. So no disaster for him. Really think he can really be blamed for the goal, especially. Obviously, he's going to be disappointed with it. Pookie out injured as well, hoping that he'll be back for Luton in midweek, but they're not 100% sure on that one. They're just trying to make sure that hamstring problem doesn't a full-blown injury, I think, as much as anything. So that meant Marcus Stiepermann starting up front again, as expected, because we kind of could guess the team today, couldn't we? Mario Vrancic is the man that comes in and plays just behind Stiepermann, and then Poeta came in for Emi Buendia, who, being suspended, took it up to 13. So on the bench, that meant that Christoph Zimmermann was the only experienced player. Yeah, Daniel Barden is the cover goalkeeper, and then 4 other academy youngsters. Reece McAleer, who's a midfielder and who did come on. He replaced Aaron's had to come on in injury time at right back, which isn't really the dream debut, is it? But just good to start his career, I guess. Tyrese Omotoye and Tom Dixon-Peters, who are both strikers, neither of whom got on, and the other one was Andrew Omobamidele, the Irish centre back, Ireland under-19 international. But he didn't come on either. So Daniel might get a bit of flack for not using subs, but I don't think anyone's really going to lay into Daniel on the back of today. Because, well, good luck sending it to his face anyway, because he's not. You can imagine what his mood's like at the moment. This is pretty unusual territory. Well, we're in unusual and unprecedented territory anyway, aren't we, this season? The one positive we can put on it as well is that hopefully, touch wood, this is the last game we're going to see behind closed doors this season. But, we can't get too carried away. But the next home game, next Saturday, here against Sheffield Wednesday, there should be 2,000 fans back here. We haven't had confirmation and stuff from the club yet, so we can't say for certain. But we know that the government have opened the door to that for Tier 2 areas, which Norfolk is. There might be 2,000 game on Wednesday as well, because they're also in a Tier 2 area, so they were trying to get things sorted. I don't know whether they've already had a pilot project like Norwich had, though, so we'll have to see, but we're close to fans being back. Those were the changes, but Norwich stayed top. We had to hold on a little while. Paul Warren's done them a favour. Rotherham have got a 2-2 draw against Bournemouth, so that means Bournemouth are just a point behind them in second. Reading beat Bristol City 3-1 in the day's early kickoff, so they're fourth and a couple of points behind Norwich, and Watford are third, also a couple of points behind Norwich. They thrashed Preston 4-1 today. So I won't go through it blow by blow, because it wasn't sort of a particular spectacle, really. But just quickly, the main chances of the game, O'Hare and Giles both had headers that they sort of wasted in the first 20 minutes for Coventry. Their young keeper Wilson, had come in because they lost their number one to injury in midweek. He denied Poeta, and then Norwich had sort of put their foot on the pedal, really. He then also made good saves to deny Josh Martin with his feet, the follow-up from Poeta, and a shot from Aaron's about 30 seconds later as well. So he earned his keep there. Couldn't keep out that Vrancic penalty, and also, he was furious with the penalty decision, but Poeta nicked in front of him, and on the replays you can see that Poeta sort of gets to the ball as he does. They both touch it. But he takes out the striker. So I think on balance you can probably say it's a fair enough penalty decision, but he certainly protested his innocence, but then Vrancic goes straight down the middle. Third goal of the season for Mario, despite having not played a huge amount of football. And at half-time, it's 0-0. Spider shot wide. McGovern had one sort of nervous moment where he juggled the ball, but yet 0-0. Leading 1-0 at half-time. So you're thinking if they just keep a clean sheet, then satisfying result this is going to be, but it wasn't to be. McGovern made a couple of decent saves in a short space of time from O'Hare and Darboe, the first one being good. I think it took a little deflection off Grant Hanley as well. Kyle McFadden, the defender, flicked on a free kick, and that hit the post in the 84th minute. That's when the sub happened. Zimmerman came on. Norwich changed to that more defensive shape because Coventry had already switched to that 4-4-2 and more attacking. And then the goal comes in the 89th minute, and with the sort of stoppage for Aaron's to get his treatment and everything that was going on around that, it was 4 minutes added on, but it kind of went past quite quickly. It was scrappy. No team was really going for it. I think both were quite happy to leave it with a point, really, in the circumstances. To have a point, still be top and unbeaten in 10, you can't really complain. So In terms of ratings, I think I'm just going to leave the ratings today, to be perfectly honest, because I don't think it's really fair to judge them. Certainly sixes and sevens all round. You wouldn't want to judge them too harshly on today. This was just a case of hanging on in there and trying their best, because this is a ridiculous injury situation, and we still don't know when quite a lot of these players are going to be back, do we? Kintia's this sort of mystery injury they can't get on top of. Cantwell still a couple of weeks away. Krul at least a couple of weeks yet. We know the longer term ones, Byram, Hernandez, and Dowell are looking at January. Ida and Mumba are looking at February. McLean could be looking at that sort of time as well. We still don't know the full extent of his knee injury, do we? Hugo, we haven't heard anything other than he's going to be back in a few weeks from his shoulder injury. So, yeah, on to Luton, who were losing 3-0 today. I haven't got that in front of me, but I think they had a bad result today. And they've had a sort of up and down start to the season. But Norwich will probably want to get one over them for that League Cup game at the start of the season, when sort of emphasising the point right at the top of this video. Norwich had 15 or 16 players were on international duty for that League Cup game, didn't they? So whereas Luton only had one player missing through international duty, which was their keeper, Simon Sluga, who was off of Croatia. So that emphasises the level that Norwich are at, aren't they? They're sort of, because they're just down from the Premier League, they're sort of somewhere between a Championship club and a Premier League club. If they go back up, as Stuart Webber said after the AGM earlier this week, they're going to be in a good position to build and have another shot at trying to get established at that level. But if they don't go up this year, then of course they're going to have to cut the cloth further, and then they become more like a Championship squad, don't they? It's so important trying to get back up there again. During the last 10 seasons, only 2 clubs have gone up automatically. 5 have gone up through the playoffs. One of them, of course, was Norwich in 2015, Fulham last season as well. So Norwich, Bournemouth, Watford still have that strength in depth, don't they? Which could prove so important this season. And when you look at the table at the moment, you have got Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford as the top 3. So we shall see. These are not normal times. Right, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Norwich 1, Coventry 1, top of the table, and beating